Hello and welcome to a very special and very different episode of WTF. I'm Chef Scott Guerin.
And I'm Janie Wang, one of the owners of Modernist Pantry. Now, normally we do an episode of WTF where we show you new ingredients and techniques, but Scott and I are going on vacation this week with our families, so no new episode of WTF on how to cook, but instead we thought we'd spend a little time talking about Modernist Pantry and WTF.
So we have a lot of new subscribers and we realized we never even gave our old subscribers this, so we wanted to answer some questions about ourselves so you can get to know us better.
Yeah, and remember, we do still have a giveaway this week. We are giving away one of our premium Modernist Cooking Made Easy kits. And I love this kit because if you want to get started with any Modernist technique, it's really a must-have. It comes with a book, this book right here. It comes with 18 ingredients, a scale, a caviar maker, a strainer. So it's a fantastic deal, and so stick around because we will talk about how you can win this kit. All right, what should we do, Scott?
Well, I think we have some questions that we have printed out, and we can just answer them, go pretty casually through them.
All right.
What is your first food memory?
Okay, so my first food memory, it would have to be when I was a kid in China. So, I don't know how much you know about Chinese culture, but usually holidays are a big deal and all your extended family gather around. Either you have a huge meal in somebody's house or you go out to a restaurant and you sit around this like massive round table and they have this gigantic lazy Susan with basically 20 different dishes on it. So I would say that's my first food memory because it's one of the few times where you get to eat a lot of different things and you have a dozen or more people just kind of running around all crazy. So it's always felt really nice. And I don't have that anymore because all my family's in China.
You mentioned something before we went on air here is you had one food that you were very into when you were a child. I'm springing this on you.
I know. I don't know if I would say it's my favorite food, but as a kid, I really enjoy eating fish eyes because in China, you get the whole fish. It's nose to tail, right? So head's on, tail's on, everything's on. I used to really enjoy eating that eyeball. I don't think I enjoy it now. I would not repeat that at this moment. But as a kid, I was like, so tasty.
Coming soon, WTF, fish eyes.
Unsubscribe.
So my first food memory, I have a few I can go back to. Is the first time I ate raw tomatoes. Not a fan, still to this day. Second, I remember asking my dad if I could take a bite of a stick of butter.
Ooh.
These are very young memories, 3 years old. But my favorite and the most prominent is I grew up in a very Italian household, so we never bought pasta, we never bought sauce. So there was always pasta being made and dried on the counter, and I would eat the raw pasta and gnocchis and everything like that. So those are really, really vivid in my mind and what kind of led me towards cooking.
Oh, wait, what did the stick of butter taste like?
I don't know, I was pretty young. I just remember taking a bite of it and just not being super thrilled because it wasn't as flavorful as I wanted it to be. What is something you really enjoy about working on WTF?
Ooh, I really enjoy people writing in about things that they've made that we've either featured or we've talked about. People tag us on Instagram, they'll drop it in the comments about something they made. And I love seeing them, I love hearing about it. I think it's so special because it kind of gives us a little tiny, become a tiny piece of somebody's life and their meals, which is always a huge part of everybody's life. So I feel very happy and honored to be a part of that process.
So for me, a little bit different on the testing and the research and the development side is always being challenged. So there's a constant challenge. And the turnaround time on these, for people that don't know, is relatively short. So we must be working constantly at something new and developing new things, such as plant-based, meat analogs, which is something I had never even attempted or thought of, but we were able to make some really great ones. So it's just a constant challenge. Whereas in restaurants, you become a cog in the machine where I've cooked 50,000 pieces of salmon. Give me something different, and this is a constant something different, and that's really nice. It's really great for the brain, and also great for you make something that people love, and there's always something new.
Yeah, I like that part too. All right, next one.
What is your favorite ingredient? I think we could take this two ways. What's our favorite Modernist Pantry ingredient, and also our favorite all-around cooking ingredient?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll start with. I'll do an all-around cooking, and then I'll do Modernist Pantry. Save the best for last, right? So my favorite ingredient to cook is probably like sea scallops, just because doing them properly is so difficult. It takes a lot of finesse to, really nail it down to the sear on it, or whatever you happen to be doing. It's just going to be perfect. That's a great, common ingredient. But and if people have read my recipes, for Modernist Pantry ingredients, it's probably 210S, just because it works so well for so many things and allows for so many new possibilities with stuff like hollandaise, beurre blanc, vinaigrettes, cocktails, just so many different things. So I love 210S. That's a really amazing one.
Oh, I like those. All right. My favorite ingredient, I would have to say, is rice, because it's such a stable food item. It's amazing on its own. There are a million different varieties of it, but you can dress it up too. You can make fried rice. And also as a lazy weeknight dinner, it goes with everything. So I love rice. And my favorite Modernist Pantry ingredient, I have to say, is meat glue, because I think that was one of my first introductions to modernist techniques. Okay. And I remember it definitely blew my mind. You're like, well, you can take these two pieces of meat and then you make them into one piece? That's crazy, right? And so I like that it's one of the ingredients that really exemplify both how unique modern ingredients and techniques are, but then also it's not that hard because anyone can do it and you just sprinkle it on. So I love meat glue.
I do love meat glue too. My turn, right?
Yeah.
What is the best meal you have ever had, and where was it?
Oh, okay. My best meal that I've ever had in my life was about 11 years ago. I had the opportunity to eat at 11 Madison Park.
Oh, okay.
And this was before they were a 4-star restaurant. They were only a 3-star restaurant at that time.
Okay.
And
they were 3 Michelin star, though, right?
No, this was New York Times stars.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
This is anyway a long time ago,
okay.
But it wasn't what it is today, but it was still amazing,
yeah.
And it was just the best service ever. I remember I went and we got a tour of the kitchen, and it was the most silent kitchen I've ever been in, and everyone was just working away. It was so perfectly organized, and I remember we got the whole roasted duck with lavender, and it was just the best thing I've ever eaten in my entire life, and I remember it very vividly, and I'm sad they don't serve that anymore.
So for me, it would probably be the restaurant at Meadowood in Napa, or adjacent to Napa. Just an incredible experience, 3 Michelin stars, so the service is literally, it feels like you have a person just for you at all times. I flew there and literally went out to eat, and it seemed like, in my time it was 3 a.m., but really it was only around midnight there by the time we were done. But I just felt amazing. Everything was so perfect. Everything came right off their farm. Everything was so well thought out. Just the food was incredible. The atmosphere was incredible, and unfortunately it burned down during the wildfires a few years ago. So they're rebuilding and everything like that. But yeah, that was an incredible experience.
Wow. I have to go when they get rebuilt.
Yeah, it's worth it.
All right. These pieces are sticking together. Okay, I got it.
What is something you find challenging about working on WTF? Producing any content is challenging, right? So it's hard to pinpoint one exact thing, but definitely when you're trying to make a recipe and it works up here, but it doesn't work, in theory, I'll always come back to vegan or plant-based macaron is something that I want to perfect before putting it out, and it's been years of trying to do things with different ingredients and not necessarily getting it right, because it can't just look like it's got to taste and feel and be exactly like it is. So it's not being able to get it down, in the timely manner in which we need to film. So.
Okay. I think for me, the most challenging part is being on camera because I'm not a YouTuber by nature. And I think...
Now, though.
I guess so. Yeah. I guess forced to be, but we wanted to do WTF and we wanted to make sure we got our content out. I was like, I guess I'll do it, but I would recommend you go back and watch the very early episodes and then watch one today. It's gotten a lot better, but I don't think I'm not someone who's dying to be on camera and dying for attention. So that part is always a little challenging for me.
I can totally understand that. Do you have a favorite WTF episode or recipe?
Oh, okay. I don't know about episodes because there are so many. Yeah. My favorite recipe is the pistachio non-dairy gelato. Okay. Because that's the one that we make in the Paco Jet. It's vegan, but it's just the smoothest, creamiest, most delicious gelato that I've ever had in my life, and I love it. And every time we have an excuse to break that one out, I would, because it's really just an excuse for us to eat more of it. It is very fatty. It is so good. That one's number one in my book.
Yeah, that's an incredible recipe. For me, episode is hard. I would probably point to one of the first plant-based meat ones, just because that is an exciting thing to have accomplished. For recipe, I may go with one that we're breaking out pretty soon for the viewers, which is the ramen inspired deviled egg. So that's an older recipe, but we're bringing it back because people haven't really seen it, and it's kind of, like I said, far back in our catalog. So that's one that I think we can definitely bring back and people will love, and hopefully, because I love that recipe. It's simple, but all the things come together for almost like a perfect little 1 to 2 bite.
Yeah, I agree. That is also a very memorable one. All right, next.
What is your favorite guilty pleasure food?
You go first.
Chocolate chip cookies. It's bad. it's good. That and Oreos. Oh boy. Tell my wife not to buy them. She buys them. I have 2 boys, so there's always one little treat in the house, and for some reason it's always cookies. But I could just slam cookies all day. It's right. Kind of dangerous.
So follow-up question: what is the most amount of cookies you've ever eaten in one sitting?
I mean, not worth counting. That many.
More than a sleeve?
Yeah. Definitely a sleeve. Maybe not like a full normal size case of Oreos, but definitely one of those rows of Oreos for sure. And with a cold glass of milk under the warm hue of a refrigerator light at midnight, kind of just hammering down Oreos. That's the guilty pleasure food. Yeah.
Yeah. I think mine is also a snack food. I would say potato chips. I love Utz wavy potato chips. And it's all the sodium. It's not good for you at all. But yeah, that's something where I can I would say I'd be I'm just gonna have a few, and I'll grab a handful and walk away, and I'll eat it. And I'll be I'm just gonna have a few more, and then a bunch of trips later, it's all gone. But it is something where once I start eating the potato chips, I will keep going until it's gone.
They say once you pop, you just can't stop.
Except I don't like Pringles. They are not the same as a potato chip.
Oh, we reached the end already.
Last but not least.
What did you think when Modernist Pantry started to take off? This one's more for you.
Oh.
Right? So for me, I'll take it as WTF.
Okay.
So initially we were live on Facebook. That's kind of...
Oh my God.
Right? We were
that
live
ended
on
very
Facebook,
quickly.
and then we brought it to YouTube, and we realized we could continue doing it that way, but it makes a lot more sense to give it a little touch of editing rather than live switching and all that. So once we got into it, it's always slow starting when you're trying to build something new, but geez, what are we, almost 4 years into it? It's picking up. We have a great number of subscribers. We have great followers who are always engaging with us and doing things and trying our ingredients. And it's wonderful. And I think when we really started to see it pick up was, right around the cooking boom, we'll call it, around 2020 is when people started really kind of influxing and finding.
I like how you put a positive spin on that. You're like, I call it the cooking boom.
The cooking boom of 2020. You know the one. But yeah, I think really we started to see an uptick in followers and engagement then.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, Modernist Pantry, WTF, it's all kind of like the same thing. Where when we started taking off, it was very scary because I don't come from an entrepreneurial background, and suddenly having to try to grow a business is very hard. And then I'm also not that much of a social media person either. So then it also being like, okay, like we knew what we wanted to do was to provide education to people out there who are either intimidated by the ingredients and the techniques, or they think like it's only for professional chefs, or I don't know how to pronounce this and it's scary and weird. And we wanted to really get the word out about it's not that different from what you're doing now, but it makes things better, to put it very simply. So I think it's very exciting. I would say it's both incredibly scary at times, but then also incredibly exciting for the opportunities to just bring something new into people's lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And we're constantly doing that with the new ingredients and everything too. So it's almost never ending.
Yeah. And I think that is actually a great segue into our giveaway.
Yeah.
Which again, it will be the Premium Modernist Cooking Made Easy Kit. So in order to enter to win, leave in the comments below, this is Scott and I's first time talking about ourselves on camera for this, and let us know if there's anything else you would like to hear us talk about in the future, or even if you're like, get back to cooking, say it nicely, please, and you can enter to win as well, because we do love your feedback and we value it. It informs a lot of our conversation about what to do and what we are making. So we read every single comment, we respond to most of them, so keep it coming. All right? Well, we're going off on vacation, but we'll be back next week with a brand new episode of WTF. So from here in the test kitchen, I'm Janie Wang.
And I'm Scott Guerin.